Bueno, guys, so today we're going to be working in our second class of the week, number 11. About to finish this level, we're going to be working in our second class, which is a complementary class to, sorry, to the previous one that we saw on Tuesday, right? On Tuesday, we were talking about what we have as a second conditional and how can we express those crazy conditions with crazy consequences, and what is the difference in front of the first conditional, which is with will, with present simple, and the second conditional it's in past, it's because it's unreal, and with would, right? I had a homework for you. I asked you to search for something. I don't know if you did it, but let's see. I ask you to find which is the past of would and which is the past of should. Which is the past of would and which is the past of should. Did you find it?
Well, when I was searching the meaning, the word is the same, just the verb changes past. But I find the shall is the meaning of should, but we use when in first person, singular person, in future shall.
This
But
one, should.
shall, yes,
Okay.
yes, but that word, if we change in past, no,
Idea.
I didn't
Okay.
find.
Okay, okay, very good. Andre, did you find something about these verbs in past?
Teacher, I don't know. I think that uh, are the modal verbs for talking in future,
In
but
future.
also depends of the context.
True. Yeah, sure.
Uh, I don't know.
Okay, don't worry.
We
We're going.
can talk in past, maybe use to will and should.
Okay, okay. Well, we are going to see as we did it because, as Manuel said, for example, he found that it was the same word, that it was the same. So we're going to identify how can I use them in the past, what is the purpose of them. So we're going to see it, okay? Don't worry. Let's start here with reading this text, okay? The red part is for Andrea and the black parts are for Manuel. Ready? So go ahead, start reading.
Yesterday, I went to play soccer and I left my things next to the goal.
Mhm.
I wasn't really paying attention, and wait a minute, screen. Okay, I wasn't really paying attention, and when I finished, I realized that my stuff was gone.
I lose my phone, my wallet, and even my laptop, which I really didn't need.
And the most infuriation, what I
Infuriating,
mean,
infuriating.
infuriating. The most infuriating thing is that there were lockers to keep your things safe.
Good, very good. So, of course, what I'm doing here is telling a story, telling a short anecdote, no? So I'm saying like, yesterday I went to play soccer and I left my things next to the goal. The goal, of course, is like como la cancha, yes? Like next to the goal. I wasn't paying attention because so I was playing soccer, but when I finished the match, I realized that my stuff disappeared, was gone. I didn't know it disappeared. I lost my phone that was in my bag, my wallet, which was in my pocket, and my laptop that also was in my bag. But my laptop, I didn't need my laptop, so I don't know why I took it because I really didn't need it. And the most stupid thing or the most infuriating is like enfurecedor, como like the most annoying thing is that there were lockers. So I didn't have to do that because I could put the stuff, my clothes and my bag in a locker to keep my things safe. So of course, in this case, I'm having a terrible anger with me. I'm saying like, oh my God, ¿cómo pude hacer eso? My God, no. Yes, so in that case, I'm having a problem in the past. I'm telling you, a problem in the past. Ready? Well,
Yeah.
any questions about the vocabulary? Questions about the vocabulary right here?
Well, I think there was a would or should not that this there isn't.
Okay, no, yeah, here we don't have
Is
should or
here
would. No
should.
yet.
No.
Todavía no. Aún no. No yet. Ready? So, but any questions about the vocabulary? Any of the words that is here or the expressions that is here are not clear, maybe? Or everything's clear here in the text?
No, just infuriating. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just that.
infuriating. Okay, like, you know, like
Infuriating.
molesto, lo más molesto, right? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I am having a problem here, a problem about the past. Yes. And if I ask you like, bueno, what is the recommendation for me? Because in here, I made many mistakes, right? For example, first mistake, I didn't pay attention to my things. I had to play soccer. Okay, yes, but I needed to pay attention to my things because they were outside. Other different mistake, I left my things next to the goal and there were lockers. So I was really stupid because I didn't need to do that. I had to put the things in the locker, right? Other mistake, I had my laptop, but I didn't really need it. So it was not necessary to have my laptop. So I lost it. I lost my laptop, yes, and unnecessarily because I didn't have to have my laptop there, right? I made many mistakes. If I ask you for recommendations, right? What could you recommend me? What could you recommend in this case?
Oh, well, don't take your laptop if you don't use that in that place.
Don't take your laptop if you don't need it, right?
Yeah, if you need it. Yeah. And why did not use the lockers if there?
Of course, use the lockers, right? Okay, muy bien. Any other, maybe? Maybe, Andre.
Why don't pay attention?
Also, no, pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your things. Okay, so okay, if you're not going to use the lockers, okay, left the things next to the goal, but pay attention to them, right? Because it's necessary. They can disappear. Somebody can take it. So pay attention to the locker. So in that case, you're giving me these recommendations, right? But these recommendations are for other situations, like in present, like ponga atención, use los lockers, right? But I want recommendations about the past because this situation was yesterday. So how can you tell me, like, for example, profe, pues debió haber puesto cuidado? Because in this case, I'm just saying, like, pues ponga cuidado, but in general. But I want to specify the recommendation for the past because the situation was yesterday. So how can I make that recommendation? Ahí sí pone difícil, my guy.
What should? Yeah, you should keep your laptop in your locker, or you should pay attention.
You should pay attention. You should put the laptop in the locker, right? Pero resulta que should pay attention and should pay the locker the laptop in the locker is still for the present. Because remember that you tell me, no, yes, teacher, should is for the present or for the future. How can I do if I want to give that recommendation in the past? Well, that's what we're going to see today. So don't worry about it. We're going to do it in a second. Right away, we're going to have a listening exercise. In this case, guys, we're going to have two different problems that these people or this person had. They are problems in the past, right? And right down, we're going to see that there are some recommendations. There are three different recommendations. Please listen to the problem first, and then listen to the three recommendations and choose one of the recommendations, the one that you prefer, right? So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen again. Wait. Share the sound. Okay. Listo. Good. So let's listen to the conversation here. Oh shoot, we don't have the. Come on. He's not sounding. Wait a second. Now, give me 1 second. Okay, it's opening. Give me 1 second.
Page 102, Exercise 7, Perspectives. I felt terrible. Part A. Listen to people talk about recent predicaments. Then check the best suggestion for each one.
What a disaster! I spilled juice on my parents' new couch. They weren't home, so I just turned the cushions over. What should I have done?
You should have told them about it. You should have cleaned it immediately. You should have offered to buy them a new couch.
I forgot my best friend's birthday. I felt terrible, so I sent him a text to apologize. What would you have done?
I would have called him right away. I would have sent him a nice birthday present. I would have invited him out for a meal.
Okay, very good. Well, we have the first problem. Do you understand the first problem? The problem number 1?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, so he spilled the juice. So the parents were not home. So what he did was turn the cushion over. So he flipped the cushion, no? Los cojines, volteó el cojín. The man is asking, what should I have done? Bueno, they give 3 recommendations. You should have told them about it. You should have cleaned it immediately, and you should have offered to buy them a new couch. Which of the 3 options is better for you?
Well, the most correct is you should have cleaned it immediately.
Okay, you should have cleaned it immediately. Very good. Andre?
I agree.
Do you agree?
Mhm,
Very
I
good.
agree.
Perfect. In this case, they are giving a recommendation, but the recommendation is about the past, right? What does it have should after in the 3 options? What does it have after? What is the verb after should in the 3 cases?
Have.
Have, right? Very good. Clue number 1. Pista número 1. Clue number 1. Second problem. I forgot my best friend's birthday. So he forgot about it. He didn't call them or anything. So his man says, I felt terrible. So I sent him a text to apologize, like a text to say that, oh, I'm sorry. Happy birthday. That's it. What would you have done? Again, they give 3 options. I would have called him right away. I would have sent him a nice birthday present, or I would have invited him out for a meal. For you, which is the best option?
First, I will have called him right away.
I would have.
I
Right.
would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right away. Very good. Andre, for you?
For me, it's better that I will have invited him out for a meal.
Yeah, I agree. I would have also invited him out for a meal. Yeah, Well, I would have called him right away, and in the call, invite him out for a meal, right? So I would have done both things. Good. Also, in this case, we could see that after the would, what do we have? What is the verb that is after would?
Huh.
Have one more time, right? So, guys, when we want to use a modal verb in the past, it's so simple. I am going to include the modal verb plus have plus the verb in past participle. So the past of would is would have, and the past of should is should have, right? It also applies to other different verbs, like for example, could have, must have, may have, might have, and so on. But today we're going to focus only in would have and should have. Ready? But for you to take it into account, the past tense of the modal verbs is the modal verb plus have plus the verb in past participle. It's like saying the present perfect with modal verb. Instead of saying haría, habría hecho. Instead of saying haría, debería haber hecho, right? And with could and may and must, it's also possible must, well, it's also the same, but in past, right? If you remember, we use these modal verbs for certainty, when we said, it must be ta-ta-ta, I am sure, or it could be ta-ta-ta, I am almost sure, or it may be da-da-da, which I'm not sure. So in that case, it's the same, but in the past. Don't worry about it. This we're going to see it in the next level, but right now, we're going to focus in would have and should have. Ready? So would have and should have are going to be the two modal verbs in the past that we're going to use right away. The pronunciation of these two, it's going to transform this sound, this combination into a right? So in this case, I don't say would have, but would have, right? So would have, the pronunciation, it's going to be would have.
Would have.
That's exact. And the same here. Instead of saying should have, it's going to be should have.
Should have.
That one is
Okay.
should have.
Should have.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Because I'm going to make always together the sentence and then the verb in past participle, right? So, for example, the person says, you should have told them about it. Should have and the verb in past participle. You should have cleaned it immediately. Should have and verb in past participle. You should have offered to buy a new one. You should have and verb in past participle. And with would is exactly the same. Would have and called them. Would have sent, would have invited. So modal verb have and then the verb in past participle. Listo? Now, what is the use of these modal verbs? When can I use should and when can I use would, right? Let's see it over here. Over here. Manuel, help me to read the yellow one, please.
We use should have to describe if the action of the other people were good ideas or bad ideas back in the moment.
Exactly. So it's a recommendation, but back in the moment, right? So we said, okay, it was a bad idea. Yes, or it was a good idea. For example, right here, you told me, teacher, you should pay attention. But you should pay attention is right now, but we're talking about a problem that was yesterday. So in that case, you could tell me, teacher, you should have paid attention. When? Now? No, in the moment. So you should have paid attention, right? Other good idea, that was the good idea, no? So I'm saying this was what we was supposed to do. Teacher, you should have used the lockers. Another good idea. Teacher, you shouldn't have taken your laptop if you didn't need it, right? You shouldn't because it was a bad idea, right? So one more time, using shouldn't for giving recommendations, but in this case, they are recommendations about the past. So of course, it's going to be modal verb, have, and the verb in past participle. You shouldn't have taken your laptop. Yeah, it was a soccer match. You didn't need your laptop, so you shouldn't have taken it. Yeah, you should have, because it was a good idea, you should have used past participle the lockers. Yeah, debiste haber usado los lockers, right? So I'm describing like what it was supposed to do, what was the best idea to do. The best idea was to pay attention. The best idea was to not take the laptop. The best idea was to use the locker. So that's why we use should or shouldn't have. Ready? And Andre, could you please help me with the red one?
Yes, teacher. We use wouldn't to express how would you have acted in that situation if you were on the other person's shoes.
Exactly. Very good. So it's basically the same, but in that case, when I use would, it's putting yourself in the position of the other person, putting yourself in the other person's shoes, right? Like if I were you, si yo fuera tú. Usually would have, it's going to be with I. It starts with I. I would have, da da da, because it's putting yourself in the person's shoes. So it's like, if I were you, I would have paid more attention. If I were you, I wouldn't have taken my laptop to the game. If I were you, I would have used the lockers, right? If I were you, I wouldn't have gone to play soccer, for example, So, how would you have acted? ¿Cómo hubieses actuado si fueras la otra persona? Ready? So, it's basically the same idea, but from different perspectives. When we use should have, it's a recommendation for the other person. So the affirmation, usually it's going to be, pues, you should have, and then the verb in past participle. The question for asking a recommendation is, what should I have done? Because you are asking a recommendation for yourself. What should I have done? Right? As you can see it here in the book, yeah? Here the guy said, what should I have done? Give me a recommendation, right? The same here. I said, hey guys, what should I have done? What were your recommendations? So you tell me your recommendations. You should have taken the laptop. You should have paid attention with you. With would is the opposite, because in that case, the question is about different. What would you have done? ¿Qué habrías hecho tú? What would you have done in my situation? So the question is going to be with you. What would you? No, I like should, but in that case is what would you have done? Right? So currently, of course, the answer is going to be with I, right? Because if you ask me, what would I have done? So I'm saying like, okay, I would have, in first person, I would have, and then the verb in past participle, I would have done this, I would have done that, right? So it's the same idea, but from different perspective. In one way, asking from my perspective, and on the other way, asking for which is my recommendation for you, right?
It's,
Yeah,
it's always with I. Well, because if well, because I use she, he, or they, I have to use should.
Yes, exactly. Right? But I mean, in some cases, it's like saying like she would have, for saying like, for example, ¿cómo hubiese actuado ella? Entonces, I would say, for example, no sé, if my wife were here, si mi esposa estuviera acá, she would have cried.
Oh, okay.
Ella habría llorado, right? It's not very common, but it's possible, right? But the thing is that in this case, when I say would have, it's like yo habría o ella habría hecho tal cosa. ¿Cómo hubiese actuado esa persona en esa situación? Normalmente, hubiese actuado yo. ¿Ready? Pero se puede con otro sujeto también.
All right.
¿Listo? Good. ¿Cómo van ahí? Good. Questions, difficulties, of course. Good. Andre, fine.
Good, teacher.
Good. Listo. Muy bien. Very, very good. Over here, for example, we're going to have a couple of sentences which I would like you to help me to complete. Ready? So it's super simple. It's just completing with should or would, and then the verb in past participle, right? So number one, stars Manuel, answers Adrian.
Okay. The cashier gave me too much change. What should I have done? This Andrea. And I continue.
Wait for her. If she's going to answer. Andre?
Yeah.
Andre, are you there?
Teacher.
Yes.
Yes. You should have seen something. You shouldn't have the money.
You shouldn't have what?
Taken.
Taken. Very good. Okay. So you should have said something, you shouldn't have taken the money. Both, the question was with I, what should I have done? So Andrea makes recommendation. You should have said something, you shouldn't have taken the money. Good. Next one, it starts Andrea, answers Manuel.
I ignored an email from someone I don't like. What would you have done?
I would have replied to the person. It just takes a minute.
Wonderful, very good. I ignored. So what would you, Manuel, have done? And Manuel answers, I would have replied to the person. It just takes a minute, right? It's super simple, right? So is it clear the difference between should have and would have? Yes, no problem.
Yes, would es cuando voy a ponerme los zapatos de esa persona, o sea, ¿qué haría yo?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exacto.
Y should have como lo que la persona debió o no debió haber hecho.
Exacto. Exacto.
¿Listo? Perfecto. Muy bien. Very, very, very good. Ready? Okay, guys. I was going to ask you something. Bueno, good. Important. Pilas. The use of would, it's going to be not confusing, but you need to be careful because when I say, what would you do? What would you do if you won the lottery? What would you do if you won the lottery? Do you think that that question is for the present, for the future, for the past? What do you think?
Teacher, for the future.
It's a potential question for the present or for the future, but it's imaginary. In this case,
Yes.
I'm using would because I'm using the second condition, right? Is also using would, but take into account that here is only would. I am not using would have, only would. Ready? So answer, what would you do if you won the lottery?
Teacher, if I won the lottery, I will to travel a lot.
If I won the lottery, I would.
Okay. I will.
Travel a lot.
If
Easy.
if I won the lottery, I would have buying a house.
There, you see, there is a mistake because you're saying I would only buy. I would buy. It's not necessarily the have because it's not about the past. It's going to be only would and then the very in infinitive. I would buy a house.
Yes, I would buy a house.
That's it. That's the difference between using would for the second conditional, which is the one in the last class, and using would for a past recommendation, which is would have, like in this case, right? So in that case, when I say, what would you do? Only would, seeing have, only would. What would you do if you won the lottery? Okay, I understand that is for the future, is imaginary situation, but it's not for the past. So it is not necessary to use the would have or the should have, right? If I am making a recommendation for the present, okay, you can also use should and no more, yeah? For example, like you did it here. Teacher, you should pay attention every time. When I say every time, I'm saying in general, in the present. It's a recommendation, like a casual recommendation for the present, not using the past. If I want to go directly to the past and specify on that situation, okay, then I'm going to use you should have, you shouldn't have, but specifically on that situation, right? So the use of the past or present of these modal verbs is very delicate because it's very thin. The line between past and present is very thin. So you have to be very careful with these two modal verbs, depending if you are using the past or the present. Okay, ready?
Teacher,
yes.
¿Cómo puedo diferenciarlo del presente perfecto?
What do you mean, honey?
Pues, ¿cómo diferencio eso del presente perfecto? O en el presente perfecto no se utilizan esos verbos modales. Porque es que el presente perfecto tiene, digamos, una estructura muy similar. También utiliza el pasado participio y también utiliza el have.
Exactly. Yes, en ese caso, en el presente perfecto no tengo modales. O sea, es decir, no,
Ah, okay.
no existen, no se usan los verbos modales porque obviamente ya sería el pasado de ese verbo. Entonces no hay necesidad de usar los modales en el presente perfecto. ¿Ready? Anyway, en el presente perfecto, digamos que es como hablar I forgot, anecdotes, stories, actions that have passed many times, but in that case, it's not necessary to use the modal verbs, right? If I am going to make a recommendation, the recommendation is specific, so it would be simple past, should have. Or if it's a recommendation in the present, but just should, and that's it. But present perfect, it's like a limbo there between past and present, which is not necessary to include the modal verbs because the modal verbs are specific or in the past or in the present. That's why we don't use it in present perfect. Okay?
Thank you, teacher.
No problem. Manu, question.
No, it's clear.
It's good. Listo, very good, excellent, good. Bueno, so far, well, it's important to remember not to confuse the thing. Ready? Bueno, guys, I'm going to tell you a story, which is a little bit, sad. And then here. Yesterday, no, that cannot be everything yesterday. The last year, I had a into a job interview, right? For starting in a big place, right? But the night before the interview, it was my mother's birthday, right? I have two brothers and many cousins. So in the celebration, they started to drink, and I said, like, no, just one, just one drink. But as the night advanced, I continued drinking. And of course, the next day, I couldn't wake up and I arrived super late to the job interview. When I arrived, the interviewer was very angry. He was very, very, very angry. You see, he was like super angry with me, and I couldn't do anything. I just excused myself. I apologized, but he didn't want to interview me. So I lost my opportunity on that company, everything because my mother was turning, well, it was her birthday, right? I know it was very stupid, but that's what we sometimes do. Recommendations, what should I have done? What would you have done in my case?
Well, that was in the past. You should have set an alarm to stay in the interview early.
Okay.
And I would have drink um, more water to pass
The hangover.
the hangover. Exactly.
Good recommendation. So I should have set an alarm. Good. And he would have drunk more water in order to pass the hangover.
Yeah.
Great, Manu. Thank you. So thanks a lot. Andre, anything?
Teacher, you shouldn't have drunk so much.
Of course. Okay. Any other?
You shouldn't gone in at the interview.
Oh, you
It's
shouldn't
better.
have gone. You shouldn't have gone.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very good. Yeah, well, it was better not to appear, no? But I would say other thing that I was in traffic or something like that. Okay. Bueno, muy bien, very good. Guys, so this is the way in which you have to use these modal verbs, no? So thinking like, okay, this is a better option, you should have done that. Or in my case, I would have done that, no? So that's it. Questions, difficulties over here, problems?
No, it's clear.
It's clear. Super, very good, excellent. Important that you remember the past participle of the verbs, right? So it's important that you practice them. I know that you know them, but it's important to practice, right? Bueno, I'm going to give you 1 minute for thinking one problem that you had recently. Could be real or invented. So you tell me like, no, imagine that yesterday I was in the office and blah, blah, blah. I was in the traffic and somebody crashed my car. I was checking my cell phone in the Transmilenio and somebody stole it. I was in the metro and somebody took the wallet of my pack. Bueno, no sé. Think on one problematic situation that you have had recently and tell them to us, right? So Manu, thinking a problem, Andre, thinking a problem, and
Okay.
organize your ideas. Organize it so you can tell the problem correctly, okay? I'm going to give you some time, don't worry. When you are ready, tell me, teacher, ready, and then we can listen, okay?
Teacher, for example, the last weekend I lost a flight because I arrived very late to the airport.
Oh, my
Is
God.
correct.
Yeah, of course. And why did you arrive late?
Excuse me, teacher.
Why did you arrive late? Was it crowded the way to Rio Negro or something?
Because were many traffic
Oh my
for
God,
many traffic.
for many traffic. Okay, very good. So in that case, how could you ask for a recommendation? They say like, well, okay, no, I lost my flight because there was much traffic. So, ¿cómo puedo decir? ¿Qué debía haber hecho? ¿Cómo sería esa pregunta, André? ¿Qué debía haber hecho? ¿O qué hubieras hecho tú? No sé. ¿Cómo lo harías?
Teacher, what should I have done?
Exactly. What should I have done? Manu, what is the recommendation for Andrea?
Sorry, I didn't listen.
Ah, don't worry. She lost a flight because there was a lot of traffic on the way to Rio Negro, which is where the airport is. So she's asking like what should she have done because she lost the flight, right? So
Well, you should have take another route to arrive early to the flight, or I would have organized everything to stay early in the airport.
okay, very good. So careful. So you should have taken past participle.
Taken.
You should have
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
another route, or I would have organized everything. Yes, I would have left home earlier. Yeah, for arriving early. That's it. Muy bien. Thank you, Andre. Thanks a lot. Manu, what was your problem, my friend?
Well, 2 days ago, I went for an interview. Everything went well, but I didn't take my resume.
Ah,
And this morning, they told me they weren't interested. So I wasted my time yesterday and, well, 2 days ago, and my money. I
hey,
waste
man.
time.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
So in that case, how could you say like, bueno, ¿y qué debía haber hecho entonces? Like,
Well, first, I will have keep my resume, my backpack first.
okay, no, but Jeff, make the question. You have to make the question. Tienes que hacer la pregunta para que Andrea te dé la recomendación. Tienes que hacer la pregunta, right?
What would you have in this case?
What would you have done? What would you have done?
What would you have done in this case?
Good.
Teacher,
Excellent.
excuse me. I didn't understand very well.
He had a job interview, same as me, but and everything was right. The interview went right. Yes, went fine, but he didn't take his resume. You know, like the CV, he didn't take it with him. So of course the company didn't find his resume, and they say like, no, you know what, we are not interested. So he said like, I wasted my time and I wasted my money, right? So the question is, what would you have done in his situation?
Teacher, excuse me.
What?
I don't know. I don't understand very well.
Don't worry. What
The
part do you don't
problem.
understand? The problem. Well, he was in a job interview, right? No
Yes,
problem.
yes, yes.
And the interview was right, but he forgot the resume, la hoja de vida, el currículum, right?
Okay.
Forgot the resume at home, and he thinks that's why they didn't call him. They said that, well, they called him, but they say that they were not interested, right? So
All right.
so the question is, what would you have done in his situation?
Okay. You wouldn't send the resume for the email, maybe.
Okay, you wouldn't, wait a second, what do you mean? Like, debió hacerlo, ¿cierto? Debió haberlo hecho, right?
Yes.
So, you, ¿con cuál
You
estamos you?
shouldn't.
Ok, pero es una buena idea, entonces you should, right? Porque si digo you shouldn't es como que no debió haberlo hecho, pero en este caso
Es que
es
cómo
que
es la pronunciación con el have, perdón.
should have, should have.
Should have. Exacto.
Exactly.
You should have send the resume for the email
Exactly, yeah.
in that moment.
Good idea. So he should have sent the resume on to an email, not to an email in that moment. So he could have printed, no? So he should have printed also there. Muy bien, Andre. Excellent. That's it. ¿No? Entonces, that's the way when we have a real problem in the past. Well, simply we can say like, hey, that's the thing. This is what happened to me. What should I have done? Or what would you have done? Right? Careful. Also, the should have, it's also used when we want to describe other things. For example, regrets. Do you know what is the meaning of regrets?
Arrepentimientos.
Arrepentimientos. Very good. So I can use regrets for talking about what I didn't like from or what I don't like in this moment from my past. Talking about myself, you know? For example, the things that I should or shouldn't have done, right? For example, in my case, I think that I shouldn't have left my things in the goal, right? I'm saying like, mucha bola, I shouldn't have done that. No debí haberlo hecho, right? Or the things that I didn't do it and I should have done. I should have slept better last night. No? So debí haber dormido mejor anoche. They should have slept better last night. Yeah. So in that case, the idea is that it's also possible to use I with should, but in other different situations, right? And it's also possible to use would have in other situations, like for example, well, we say like, él habría hecho tal cosa, right? For example, if my father were alive, si estuviera vivo, he would have knocked me terribly, knocked me off terribly. O sea, me hubiera regañado, pero terriblemente, right? So, si estuviera vivo. So, if he were alive, so he would have knocked me off terribly. Ready? So, it's possible, yes, it's possible to use these modal verbs with other different subjects, but for the moment, just focus on you should have and I would have. And in the questions, inverted. What should I have done? What would you have done? This part, we're going to see it in the next level. Don't worry. So we have time later for more modal verbs in the past. So don't worry about it. For the moment, just focus on you should have and I would have. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
So, questions, difficulties about it, problems?
Well, teacher, any advice for the checkpoints of with
The
12?
check,
Is
yeah, the
the same?
checkpoint is
Yeah.
super easy, but it has only one part. So
Yeah.
this part, it's not going to be included in the checkpoint. So don't worry about it. About the
Oh.
checkpoint, we talk the next week, okay? Because the
All
checkpoint
right.
is going to be only with the week 12. So the next week we talk
Oh,
about
right,
the
right.
checkpoint, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Listo, my dear people. So for the moment, that would be all. See you the next week. The next week we have only one class, that is class number 12. So I am not programming that yet, but I will program it tomorrow. So you can see the schedule for the next week. Okay. So see you next week. It's the last week of the level. And the next week, the week of the 17th, we should be starting the intermediate one, right? So please advance, calculate your time, do your calculations, advance on the percentage and everything good, right? If you have questions, problems, or whatever, text me and I will help you with whatever that you need, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Teacher,
Well,
you
teacher,
continue
I
to teach at the intermediate level.
Until we finish, Andre, until the advanced level, I
Okay,
am going to continue. Ready?
thank you very much.
No, thanks to you for being here.
Mhm.
Okay. Have a good night. Sleep tight. Manu, you said something? Ask me something.
yes, teacher. I've been looking all the formal verbs, also all the basic verbs in one list. But when I found it is a big page, and I haven't. Well, I wanted in one page. You have any something like that?
No, because there are different uses of the modal verbs in the past. The modal verbs in the past have many different uses. So
Yeah.
one page is for the use of recommendation. Another page is
Oh.
for the use of obligation. So
Yeah, because
how we
it's
divide
a
it?
lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So no, there is not like something that like compiles everything. No,
Yeah.
it's difficult to find that. Yes.
Well, no
Okay.
problem, teacher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Manu, no problem. So, ahora sí, have a good night, sleep tight, see you next week, sleep and take advantage of the weekend, okay?
Thank you,
Good
teacher.
night,
See you
teacher.
later.
Good night.
Good night.
See you later.